Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Nigeria Now on Echo Television International, where we keep you updated with what is happening presently. Among which we know that today President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is hosting the African Terrorism meeting today, where we have other key holders, presidents from other African countries present, and then they are talking and seeing how they can provide some solutions to the issue of terrorism in the continent Africa. I'm Sada Lashidasho, and I'm doing the program alongside Rachel Tansey. Good afternoon, Rachel.
Afternoon, Sally.
All right. Do remember you can be part of the conversation here this afternoon by dropping your comment, dropping your views on some of the matters we would love to discuss this afternoon. And we'd love to start with today being the World Health, talking about World Earth Day rather, where we see that the theme for the year is planet versus plastic. And we know that the issue, the fight concerning recycling, renewal of plastic have been ongoing, not just starting this year, but then it has go back history. And I think it's very important, Rachel. We started this conversation in the morning where we see that it is important that we observe a day such as this just so that people will come to terms with the fact that you know what plastic is actually posing as a hazard, as a very dangerous thing, and not just to us, but let's also think about the aquatic in the oceans where they are suffering from some of the things that have been will I say the plastic most times do have a way of posing danger to them. We've seen that some of our aquatic are going extinct because of some of these things. And then let's not even talk about the issue of erosion, deforestation, when no matter how we try to look at it, plastic is serving as a danger to us because even though we are supposed to recycle it, but we're seeing that a number of Nigerians especially, we
Yeah.
are not really exposed to the fact that, you know what, we need to do something about disposing of our plastic properly. And then the government, in a way, have a big role to play because when you go to most of our rural areas, we can say for our urban areas, some of the areas, they actually have a way of disposing the plastic properly. But then when we go down to rural area, we see after people finish taking their soft drink, carbonated drink, you just get to, you know, throw the bottle regardless of what is happening. And then before realizing this is a way of landing into the oceans, causing erosion and all of it. So I really think it's something we need to talk, even though I know it's not just a threat in Nigeria, it's globally the issue of, you know, talking about how we can protect our planet is globally. But then let's bring it back home here where we see that we're really, really suffering. We don't even know what to do. I've seen a number of will I say on social media where people have a way of using this plastic. I've seen a house being built with some
Yeah.
of people have a way of feeding this plastic with sand. We've seen kids turning it in a way, being very creative with it. And then we're seeing that just over 12% of these plastics are being recycled. And you tend to tell that we have a long way to go when it comes to the issue of recycling of this plastic. But I'm happy that it's something that we have actually come to terms that we have to look for a way. If you need to go to the market, I think the use of even polythene bags have to be banned somehow. Let's get the way of using
Yeah.
maybe the paper bags, and then most of the time
Exactly.
when we see it here in Africa, we tend to look at other Western nations like, what's this? But
Yeah.
we really have to also abide that because it's just a way of controlling the way plastic actually being disposed, and then we don't have proper channels. I mean, you and I we talked about in the morning the issue that even power is
Yeah.
the reason why these things are not being
Yes.
recycled proper. But I'm happy that we'll do something about it, and I hope that we'll see collaboration from the federal government, state government, even private individuals and NGOs. We all have to put our hands together to preserve our planet by looking for a way to dispose the plastic properly.
I believe it's all about, sensitization. Just as you
Mm.
said, a lot of people don't know how to make sure plastic waste is not a problem in this and in the environment. Just as you mentioned, maybe here in the urban area we don't throw it like they do in the rural area. But as you were making mention of that, I just smiled and I said the fastest way to sensitize a Nigerian about anything is tell them they can make money out of it, and
True.
everybody will start doing it.
Mm.
So let's spread the message that yes, you, because currently now people sell it, so at the level in which it is, you can't sell it. And money usage down at the rural area is different from the urban area. So let's spread the word out. Can when you travel to the village, tell them stop throwing these plastic bottles. you can sell it off.
Mm.
Just tell them that, and it will spread like wildfire, selling. And before we know it, we are not dumping our plastic waste anyhow. Tell them whatever plastic they use, they shouldn't throw it away. So if a wedding, if a ceremony happens, and they happen to have access to bottles, be it for the soft drinks that we have, or for food giving in, tell them not to throw it away, that it could be recycled, and then they could make money out of it. And trust me, people will start gathering these things. And within our environment here and our communities, we are saving these plastic bottles. Is there plastic waste out there? But it has reduced to a lot of level, because now when I pass, I see more organized plastic bottles in nets, in old nets, in used sacks and all of that. And now I'm thinking, okay, so let's move forward to the solution. We've thought about recycling and the issues out there. And I believe that for there to be a supply of certain things, there have to be a demand. And this solution, for me, I believe that if I'm to make mention of it, Nigerians will kick against it, because we see drinking plastic water from plastic bottle as civilization.
True.
I'm saying it's about time we go back to how we filter water and keep rebottling them, compared to the buying. Or we have dispensers now at our homes, rather than buying this water in plastic bottles, and just get your cup, drink this water, and you move. But a lot of people will be out there and will see it as civilization. And if I cannot keep buying plastic bottles water in my house, it means I've not arrived. Whereas we are, because there was once a time plastic waste at this amount was not yet a problem.
In fact, was not this much.
Was not this much in this country, until we got to the stage where drinking water from plastic bottle is arrival. They have shown you have reached, you are now civilized, you're all of that, and then we have more. So imagine if we can take it back to where we have water filters at home, dispensers, and then we don't have to keep buying these waters in bottle, for example, just to reduce the demand for plastic bottles, and then eventually reducing the plastic waste out there. This might be 0.001%, but I believe that is also a solution. This is also a way forward. And just as we said, I'm looking forward to more sensitization to the villages. Tell them they can make money. You will see them storing it up, and then eventually it will be gathered, and it will not be littered all around like we see it now.
So I think the government also have to get into this. If we're telling people out there to
Yeah.
gather the bottles because they can make money out of it, they need to know how can they channel this bottle, who will they sell this bottle
Yeah.
to. I think it's another way. And then with that, because there was a time we also had this issue of all these canned drinks all over, but right now I
Yeah,
hardly
you
see
don't
it
see
because
them.
people mail them.
They are
We see
making
them, like,
pots
especially
now.
here, we make pots out of
Yes.
it. You can see all these people walking around that are in need of it, and then you give them and they pay you. So we could actually
Yes.
advance to that
True.
point too when it comes to the plastic. Now let's check another part of another sector in Nigeria, which is the issue of security. I mean, we lost about 6 of our soldiers again in Niger State. There was a battle between bandits over there and then between the military. That's in Shiroro local government area, the village there. And then this back and forth crisis, the battle went on for 3 days. And then it will tell you in between, there was a little setback where they lost 6 of their soldiers, but that did not stop for making sure that they were able to record some. They were able to get some ammunition from them, kill some of them, and also arrest some. And it's really sad because, Rachel, immediately I saw the 6 soldiers that we lost, I couldn't help but imagine the 11 that we lost. It's not up. I think a little over 2 weeks was where we lost these soldiers, about 11 of them, which we buried recently in Delta State of Okwama. And it's really something I think the government needs to do something more. Of course, we know that they already signed up for this job. They know that actually it's either you make it, you don't make it when it comes to fighting terrorism. But I know that the government can do something to make sure that, you know what, we need to also protect the life of our soldiers out there. I mean, we saw in the papers where the defense headquarters is saying it is not their responsibility to intervene in any internal crisis But we're seeing that when it comes to terrorism, it has gotten out of hand, that our police cannot handle this alone. And that is why we're having the military coming in to actually help out. But then I'm just hoping that we get to a point that we don't keep losing our men at the verge of trying to protect our land. If only we can do the right thing, put the right measures on ground, I believe that to some extent we will be able to protect the lives of the soldier, because they're human as well. So we cannot put them out there and then, because we're supposed to do our assignment, even though this is becoming, there was a time that Shiroro was one of the peaceful local governments in Niger. So there was a time that you could do whatever, you can go out at any time, come back at any time, because I mean everywhere was safe. But right now reverse is the case. You can hardly go out without being cautious of what is happening, and then not to talk about even our armed men that are with their ammunition, but still yet they lost their lives. So it's really a sad one, and I just hope that the government will be able to take care of their loved ones that they left behind, because most times we see, even when we lost them, the problem right now is how about the loved one, their family members that they left behind. So we're looking forward to, you know, where the government can come in and fight terrorism. I mean, we saw in the paper where villagers in Zamfara are running to the government house for safety. Rachel, it has gotten that bad that people feel that if the government cannot protect us, maybe let us go to where they are staying. It's more safe there. So we're looking forward to seeing what the government will do to protect our armsmen.
Just as you said, Sele, they signed up for it. However, I can't just help but coming from this angle you've already mentioned of the Niger Delta killing in Okama and all of that. And I just wanted to say, you know, that this is more of a situation where we can say this is heroic. And of course, we've talked about the killing in the Niger Delta here, and my opinion haven't changed about it concerning what took place, and it shouldn't even be in the first place. Because as far as I'm concerned, that event in particular shouldn't even happen in the first place, with our soldiers being involved. And up till now, to tell you how it turned out to be, nobody can really pinpoint who are behind this killing. But now we can go back to Niger and say, you know what, this is terrorism. They are fighting bandits. They are fighting people that have been putting problems in that state, have been causing destruction there. And then when you look at the report, this, as sad as it might be, they signed up for it. Our soldiers shouldn't die. But if there's a cause for that, this is the kind of where we can come out, because despite the setback, they recorded an amount of success, because this was a well planned out I don't know the word for it, the military term for it, but this was a well planned out operation by the military. It was so unfortunate they had an ambush on the way to it, and despite this setback, they were still able to get and seize some of the weapons and tools from these bandits. They were able to have some amount of success, and then they are moving on despite this setback. And then these are the kinds of report that we are looking for from the military, despite it being sad that yes, we lost some soldiers, but no such thing can be said about what happened in the Niger Delta. So I'm looking forward to more defined military activities from our army, from our navy, from the Air Force. We want to see more defined activities, because up till now, what truly took those soldiers that were slain like that in Niger Delta community? But for this, we know what operation they were out on, and despite the setback, they were able to record some amount of success, and they are not stopping. The report is that they are moving on, they are heading on, they are catching them, and they are, despite what is happening. And this is where we can see we have an army that is fighting terrorism and are getting some amount and level of success. And we are looking forward to these kinds of reports, to the extent that they will be ahead and we will not record any ambush, because of course when there is an ambush, it shows that there is some amount or level of sabotage somewhere within, or just perhaps these bandits are also out there fighting the good of the fighting the soldiers, because they also need to prevail in their own wickedness. So I'm just this is thumbs up to the army, that despite this setback, there was some amount of success recorded. And I'm not looking forward to see more soldiers dying, but seeing that they went out on an operation
And it was
it was
successful.
successful. Yes.
Very true. You know, even in talking about success, I mean, there was a video that was circulating around in the Northeast where people were celebrating our armed force because they
Yeah.
went to Sambisa Forest
Yeah.
and they were able to reconcile. So they were
Exactly.
celebrated. I was happy. I saw some even giving their cabin biscuits and all of that. And
Yeah.
it looks, but it's really something that really have to celebrate them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we might not see the outcome of all of the things they do, but then believe you me, our army are really, really working. They're
They
trying
are.
their best, and we wish them all the best as they go out there making sure that we can actually sleep well at night
Yeah.
because they are out there sleepless. I mean, you need to go around, you see them under the rain, trying their best to make sure
Yeah.
that we are all safe. So we really have to applaud them. Now, the federal government on the other side are trying what they can also do, and that is where we see that the president, together with the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, are actually hosting a meeting presently as we talk. The meeting will be holding from today down to tomorrow. And then they're talking about the African counter-terrorism meeting where we have a number of in the present there we have a number of some of the presidents. We have the
Yeah.
president of Ghana present there. We have the president of other countries that are there, and they also have Amina Mohammed from the UN being present there because it is important that we talk about what can we do as a continent to be able to curtail the issue of terrorism, because it will shock you, Richard, that Nigeria happens to be the third largest country where we have the number of IDPs.
Yeah.
So it was that in Africa we are topping third. That means there really, really is a need for us to look in within. What can the government do to make sure that you know what we need to tackle terrorism? They are taking different shapes and forms.
Yeah.
You can look at it either as the Boko Haram, or I could talk about ISWAP or the bandits. And then just in the north, Rachel, we have over 300 bandits, warlords, just in the north. So let's not even look at other parts of the country presently. So I think that this summit, or this meeting rather, is timely. There is no better time to have this meeting
Yeah.
than now. Even though I think that the theme for the meeting is talking about Nigeria, talking about interregional coming together
Yeah.
institutions being set up to make sure that you know what, we have this country where we can actually sit down and say that the issue of terrorism is a story of the past. But just like we're saying, a number of people are talking. If we are serious concerning the talk to be able to do away with terrorism, what are we doing about those who are financing them?
Yeah.
Because whether we like it or not, we have even cyber terrorism going on presently.
do.
We have illegal arms coming into the country. So this is where you begin to call on all the chief of staffs, whether the air marshal, whether the defense, whether the IGP of police. What are you doing in your own capacity to make sure that you know what, terrorism, we are going to go down to zero no matter what it will take the government? Because let's just look at this present administration. Buhari regime has been doing its best. But right now we're saying Tinubu, how about he has also tried his best as well to make sure that, you know what, I pump in enough funds over there to be able to curtail that. But I'm hoping that beyond this summit, beyond this meeting, let us see something proactive measure coming from the government, not just in Nigeria, but let us see African leaders ready to be able to tackle the issue of terrorism totally.
And I just hope that we see war leaders from countries that have a lot of terrorism activities going on, terrorist activities going on in Africa be present. I hope to see representatives from Somalia, of course, and for Libya, definitely also. It might be a slippery one when it comes to that country, precisely looking at what is its state at the moment. But then I just hope that countries that are prone to this, that have had it in the past, that are still having a little insurgent as such related to terrorism, be present. Because because one major effect of terrorism within a country is that it affects the neighboring country, and also the neighboring country is also used to as a tool, as a weapon to also advance terrorism in a lot of way. Because where do mercenaries come to a country when it comes to sponsoring terrorism, be it with manpower or money? It's always through the borders and all of that. So I'm just looking forward to seeing not only the countries that are affected by terrorist activity, but also countries, neighboring, very neighboring countries that are being affected by what is going on in that country, and also that its root, its boundaries, and all of that have been used also as a tool to enhance terrorism within that country. Because I believe that everybody needs to answer when it comes to terror. It's not really something that you can fold your hands and say, I have no business with it. If thieves should go into your compound, Sele, using your neighbor's fence, your neighbor can, even if they are not directly involved in it, cannot just fold their hands and say it is your business, because for some reason there was access from their own side to you. Either way, so it becomes a joint issue and problem. So I'm just looking forward to the caliber of leaders and countries that will be present, because one thing we know for sure is that it also ripples when it comes to terrorism. We see how it started in Nigeria, and it looked like some places couldn't be touched, and now we are seeing the untouchable being touched. So it's just a matter of time. If you think that certain violence cannot spread to your country, you're mistaken. It will eventually get to you. Most especially, you have to watch out. What are these terrorist groups talking about? What is their agenda? Are they religious? Are they political? Are they whatsoever? If this is what is happening in your country, then it can go to the next. If that certain thing exists within your own country also. So there should be synergy when it comes to, it's a collective effort. Exactly. So I am looking forward to African leaders taking this conference and gathering really serious. Nobody should think it's your business, Nigeria. Nobody should think it's your business, Somalia. Nobody should think Libya is on their own, or whatever country is going through terrorist attacks and activities at the moment. But let's see leaders come in and say, you know what, this could spread, and we are responsible for each other.
Just like you said, Rachel, we are hoping to see every African country leader being involved. Just like I said, it's everybody's business. I mean, when the Boko Haram issue started, I mean, it was like they are using the chat to get into the country. They are using from Niger to come into the country. So whether you like it or not, what touches one country touches the other. Yeah. We all share borders in one way or the other. So it is important that we see all of these African leaders. I was really happy the number of presidents that are there. For those who couldn't make it, it's any representative. So even for the UN to take interest in this, you know that we really, really need to put our heads together. We cannot have international countries, or we cannot have the UN being interested and the African leaders are folding their arms. It will not actually take effect as it should be. So let us see how this meeting, how the summit will turn out to be. And we hope that by tomorrow, when this meeting will be done, we'll be able to come up with something tangible, some strategies that we want to follow, some procedures that we need to follow to see that, you know what, if this is what we have discussed, it's beyond having paper presentation. I mean, whatever Ricardo is saying there, it should go beyond what he has to present. Let us see him doing something about that. Well, Rachel, I hope we could talk more and more, but we have to draw the curtain here today. Thank you for doing this with me. And also thank you to our viewers and every other person who made this program a success. Until we come your way tomorrow, please do have a great day ahead.